Great. So thanks very much for having me speak here. It's a great chance to talk about these things. Sorry for being late, but Tareen, I think having your talk first gave maybe good motivation for mine, so it worked out well. So really, I'm going to try to talk generally about underwater image restoration systems. These are different collection of different projects we are working on as part of the ANERIS project, and of course more in general. Yeah, so just to mention, I'm from the computer science department at University of Haifa, and I work on machine learning and computer vision quite broadly. My collaborators here in this project are Tali Tribitz and Dalia Kainak, who are both from the marine sciences school. So they really got me into this field, applying computer vision and machine learning techniques to underwater images. Okay, so this is just kind of a general slide that gives us a general view of how important it is to do research, different kinds of research on the ocean. And really our aspect here is to give tools that will enable better and deeper understanding, at least from the visual side of this different kinds of research. Specifically, what I'll try to tell you about more in detail today is two different projects that we've been working on. One here you can see a bit of at the top. It's so in general, what we do is I think you all know how vision underwater is a different thing than computer vision that most of us know of in air. It's a whole different world with many, many difficulties. So we need to develop new techniques for getting better images, so improving visibility, cleaning up images, and actually all the other things that we do in vision and in image understanding, right, trying to get a better understanding of the 3D scene that we're looking at, understand the colors, and over that we can then probably have better detection, recognition applications, and so on. Okay, so on the top here, one work we did for which is kind of 3D reconstruction of a scene, and what you see here on the bottom is just a single image color enhancement and a understanding of the depth map of the scene. Okay. So before that, I would like to start with mentioning this work from Dalia and Tali back from 2019. So it's called a see-through, and a method for removing water from underwater images. And what it does is exactly what you see here. So we have some single input image taken underwater. Okay, the system actually requires as input also a depth map of the scene, which we can see here. And what can be then done is a very, very accurate restoration of the image itself, as you can see here at the in the output, which is an image that you can imagine that would have been taken if we removed the water that was between the camera and the scene itself. Okay, so all the colors look pretty natural. You can also notice here in this color board. This color board, by the way, is here in the input image, not to be used by the method, but just for verification. So you can see how nice it looks. So this is a method that I won't go into, and it's based on previous more theoretical research on the modeling of light underwater. So it's basically a revised underwater image formation model. I'll say something about that. And it's important because, so again, this see-through method, which is one of the leading ways of restoring an image underwater, and also many other works, including the ones that I'll present today, that kind of rely or are based on these on this modeling of light underwater. Okay, so going forward, so this is the first work that I will discuss, and I mentioned that it's to do with a 3D reconstruction. So if any of you have heard of NERF, which is a very strong buzzword in vision in the last 3-4 years. So what we're trying to apply this kind of a technique underwater. So what we have here is, as an input, this time we have a multi-view set of input images. So assume, right, a diver or a camera underwater from some robot maybe is moving. And we have this set of multi-view input images. And what the NERF is able to do in general is to process these input images, reconstruct the entire 3D scene, and then render what we call new views of the scene. Okay, so we can imagine placing the camera at a different position even from the input images, a new camera position, and asking the network, the method, the model to render this new view from a new direction of the scene. Okay, this is what NERF is able to do in general. And you can see here, just for experimentation, we kept aside the ground truth, the real image from that viewing direction. So you can see that it did pretty well. In addition to that, and this is for the special case of using this underwater, we're also able to restore the original kind of no water image. So what these objects would have looked like without the water in the scene. And also visualize different components of the image formation model, like the backscatter. Okay, and I'll get to that. The second work I'll talk about is more to do with the ability to use, so I guess you've all heard of recent generative models in computer vision, and maybe the most well-known are diffusion models. Okay, so diffusion models are very powerful machine learning models nowadays, and again, we wanted to try to use these techniques for underwater single image restoration. As I explained before, from a single input image, we are able to, again, restore the image, get a pretty good restored image, which kind of removes the water from the scene. So you get a natural view of what this reef looks like, as well as a depth map, which is also a very important kind of channel of information that can be used for further processing of this scene. Okay, so here are other members of the different labs that have taken part in this research. Okay, so I'll start by just saying a few words about the underwater image formation model. Okay, so we're looking at what we get is an image, let's call it I, and this image has different color channels like RGB. So for each channel, we have an image. But the problem is that the image that we see is not actually the JC here, which is the clear scene, the underlying, the image of the clean underlying scene. Okay, so this is not the case. What in practice happens is that between the scene that we're looking at and the camera, there is this interfering medium, the water. Okay, it's not even the water. There are many types of water. It depends if you're in a pool or in one sea or in another. This will all affect the visibility. And the basic way to model this is in the following way. Okay, so there is the clean image that we would have captured without the medium. And the basic modeling goes as follows. You take the clean image, you apply to it some attenuation. So the attenuation is actually, if you think of the light traveling along this way, right? The light hits tiny particles in the water, and the signal itself is attenuated. Okay, so this is the attenuation. And we have an additional additive factor, which we call backscatter. And backscatter is kind of complementary light rays that hit these same particles and get added to the signal that comes into the camera. And what does it look like in this as a basic formulation? So again, we have the clear scene. It gets multiplied by this term that that accounts for the attenuation. And we have another term here, veiling light. Again, it's this additive light that gets added to the scene. Okay, and important factors that we have here is this, you see this letter Z here is actually the depth of the object, meaning the distance of the object from the camera. Okay, the further the object is, the more interference we have, of course. And there are a few other, there's this constant here, which is the color of the veiling light, of the depending on the water. But importantly, what actually governs this equation is this parameter here, which is called the attenuation coefficient. Okay, so this really differs between different environments. And yet, as you see here, the same coefficient is used both in the attenuation and backscatter component. And this is true for each of the color channels, R, G, and B. Now, what was found in Tali and Daria's previous research is that mainly that this assumption of using the same coefficient for the two components and a simple coefficient is not very accurate. So without going into details, they showed that these attenuation coefficients, the y-axis here, in the ocean, they vary very strongly as a function of the wavelength. As opposed to what happens with different kinds of interference like we have here on the left, you see a foggy scene. Okay, so it's also a kind of a medium, but it's not like water. Here, everything is much nicer in terms of this model, assuming that an attenuation coefficient can just be taken as being independent of the wavelength. Okay, it actually means that if you think of it, different colors in the scene are attenuated in a different way. And as we all know, you can see here, right, most images in the sea we see mostly blue. Okay, because one reason for that is that, for instance, the red channel gets attenuated much faster than does the blue channel. Okay, so again, this is the original formulation. And what was suggested in what they called the revised model is, first of all, to separate these two coefficients. Okay, they showed that it's necessary to separate them. And they characterized actually in a much more rigorous way on which parameters do they depend, and they also showed ways of how to find these parameters given a certain image. Okay, I think I'll kind of skip this. This is just showing the kind of experiments that verified this model. You see here at the top the original images at different depths, and here after removing the backscatter, and here reconstructing the clean images. So just to summarize this part, okay, here are results of taking a raw image and revising it using this see-through technology. Here's another even much more difficult example. But just to note that a few things here, this is pre-deep learning methods used in this area. It's a very difficult optimization. It needs the depth map. So in the following methods that I'm going to talk about, really, I'm more going to relate to the model that I came up with, and not necessarily with the way of fitting this model or using it to optimize. Okay. Okay, so the first work, I have to tell you a few words first maybe about NERF, not assuming that you have the background. So really, this paper came at 2020, and it's a huge breakthrough in what we call image-based rendering. So the general problem is as follows. You have some scene. You're given a set of input images, okay, like the many different images that we have here. You can see how these images are placed. These are the cameras around the scene. And what actually we want to do now is to kind of reconstruct the scene such that we can now render new images from any new viewpoints like the ones I'm showing here that I would like to look from. And if we're able to do that, we can even actually take a camera and choose some kind of predefined path and generate a video of a camera going through the scene. Okay, these are results of rendering scenes based on only a few images of the scene. You can see the amazing qualities, even though these are synthetic examples. Okay, there are tons of these examples. You can find them online. Okay, really very, very nice. And the basic idea being here is that right, if there's some 3D object and a 2D image that's viewing it, basically, if we look at samples in the 3D space along this ray, okay, and we plot them here along this z-axis along the ray, we can look at two factors for each sample along the way. One is the density of the point in 3D space, which basically means is it free space or is there some object at that point? So you can see for this example, basically from the camera till we hit the tree, it's free space, density 0, and then a point with very high density that appears. And also, of course, we can associate a color to each point in the 3D space. Okay, once we've learned to associate such density and color for each point in space, what we can do now is to render the pixel at this ray according to these values. Okay, so in this case, we will render this green pixel. Okay, the rendering is a closed form solution. It's basically a kind of an integral over the values in all of the samples. Okay, it's an integral over the colors weighted by basically a function of the densities. Okay, I think I'll skip this for the moment. This is the actual rendering equation. I'm kind of time limited, so I think I'll keep going on. But basically what happens now is that if this is the scene and we have a few input images, for each pixel of each input image, we can do this exact thing, pass a ray into the 3D space and sample 3D points in the space. So a 3D point is an XYZ location with a viewing direction. And what we actually learn is this model, okay, it's a very simple network that we give it the location of the 3D point, and what it gives us as an answer is the properties of that 3D point, the color, RGB, and the density of the point. Okay, based on the answers that the network gives us in each point, we can do that integral that I showed you and render the image pixel that we see here. Okay, because we actually have this image as an input, if we render the pixel, we can train the network based on a reconstruction loss. We can tune the network to give us, in the end, the right colors. Okay, this is the structure of the network. It's a very simple, one of the most simple networks we still have, an MLP. That gives us, again, the density and the color at a certain 3D point. Okay, let me, oops. All right, skip to what happens underwater. Does this thing work? Okay, so of course, out of the box, it doesn't work at all. Here's an example. You see a set of images, and the problems arise. As you can see, each image, even the same object that we look at in different images might look different. It really depends on the viewing direction, on the distance of the object from the camera, as I told you before. And therefore, most of the assumptions, or many of them, break. It isn't playing here, but Yeah, basically, this is what you get if you try to render a video of the scene. You get this terrible disruptions. Basically, the model cannot deal with the fact that we have the water in the scene. Okay, a few more examples here. Again, these are input frames that we took at the scene. And this is what we are able to reconstruct. So you see it's a pretty good reconstruction of the 3D structure and colors of the scene. There are interferences, but there's this is a comparison to what was could have been done before. Okay. Another thing that we can do here now is on the right, we can also synthesize the scene as if we don't have, you see the blue, the water itself is removed. I'll skip this. So basically what we did very shortly is we had to change the equations and the respective networks to support the image formation model underwater. Okay, without too many details, so we can't assume anymore that there are objects and all the rest is free space as it is in above water. Here we actually have to model the water. So what we did is we kind of have a separate modeling now for objects and for the medium itself. Okay. So if this was the original network that predicted only density and color for the objects, we added this new component that predicts the color and densities for the medium as well. And through connections to the image formation model, we were able to also change the rendering equation and get correct rendering of a scene, including the water. Okay, here are some of the changes in the equations we made. I think I'll just skip this, but mainly the addition of taking the medium into account. And also, according to the revised image formation model, we separate between attenuation and backscatter. Okay, we also added some changes into the loss function. Here you can see this is part of the loss function that kind of constrains the weights of the objects in the scene. It basically tells the training that at any line of sight, there's one object that we will hit at a certain point, and not many kind of objects that are maybe semi-transparent. So this is a change in the loss that will enforce this. And we can see here the overall pipeline that we get. Okay, so this part here is basically the training according to the standard approach, but with the changes that I mentioned. And now that we did this at kind of inference time, we can now take a different viewing direction. So different from the input set of capturing directions and positions. And from a new direction, we can now synthesize a new image, which is an underwater image, and also a clean restored image as if we had no water. Okay, more examples. I think I'll just maybe show one output, okay, a comparison of our reconstruction to other methods to really see the differences and the contribution. We intentionally worked on scenes which are difficult in the sense that they have these far back areas which are much more highly distorted by the water. And you can see that our reconstructions in these areas are much closer to the ground truth compared to methods which were not able to obtain that. Okay, I think I'm getting towards the end, so I'll skip these. I'll just say that we have our own implementation of this method called see-through NERF. But recently, a new implementation appeared. This is a well-known library called NERF Studio, which has many implementations of NERF-related methods. So this implementation is actually even better than ours, and the results also look somewhat better. So I recommend looking here. Ayub, how much longer do I have to?
-5 minutes.
-5? No.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
you still have maybe 2 minutes. Silent,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay. Okay. So really shortly, I'll just say a few words about the second part, and I invite you to read the paper and so on. So the second, as I said, it's the second work is based on diffusion models. In diffusion models, we train these networks by taking clean images, adding to them more and more noise gradually. And then at test time, we are able to reverse this process, to start from a random noise image and reverse the process and end up with new generated nice images. Okay, and this thing has also been used in a conditional setting. So assume that you get this degraded image that we have here. Okay, so we also can use these models to kind of couple it with a random noise image and go step by step, denoise it, gradually denoise this image, but considering the degraded input image as a condition. And after many denoising steps, we can actually get a restored image of the degraded input version. Okay, there are many different applications for this, and what we wanted to do here is use it to restore underwater images. So I'll just say what the basic idea is here. Let's say this is a given underwater image Y. This is actually our condition. And assume that within our method, we somehow predict that this here is the clean version of this image. So the basic idea is that if we have our underwater image formation model, okay, we can turn this clean image into its underwater version, and then train based on a loss between the true image and this predicted underwater image. Okay, so I'll skip many details here, but the optimization, maybe just show this slide. So, okay, we have this underwater image here. We start from this random noise image and random noise depth image and run for typically 1,000 steps with this pair of images and end up with what you see here on the right, the clean image, and on the left, the predicted depth image. Okay, I'll stop here. Some more results. I'll share the slides, of course, so you're welcome to go through them. And I think that's it. If there are any questions, I'll be happy.